Good morning, Cubs fans. Danny Rocket here in Rose Hill Cemetery before the Cubs face the Arizona Diamondbacks on this fine Saturday, May 2nd. They managed to win yesterday, just basically held on after going up big. They were winning 6-1, ended up winning 6-5. Some kind of sloppy play out there in the field from the defense, specifically Alex Bregman. And Nico got taken out of the game with a stiff neck, said he couldn't move it. So Matt Shaw was out there, and he didn't look so hot either. So anyway, the Arizona Diamondbacks have a pretty good offense, but their pitching has been disappointing to them. I know that much because we saw Zach Gallen give up a bunch of runs, and he used to be their ace. It happens. That's how baseball works. Guy's arm just falls off eventually. Anybody of a certain age knows all the things that start to wear out. But other good news, yesterday I made a whole post about May Day and the union, the MLB Players Association union that holds a lot of power, which is good because otherwise the billionaires who don't do shit would be taking all the money for the efforts of the players that actually play the game. But I made mention that there was no union amongst some of the Wrigley employees, and that is untrue, actually. There is a union. They did outsource. The Wrigley does not pay them. They pay Levy, and Levy does have a union. Those people still don't get paid all that well. They don't really get the hours. And from people that I've talked to, the working conditions aren't all that great, but that kind of work, and I've done that kind of work, so I know it is not kind of expected to be great. But we can do better, I think, as a society and actually treat every kind of employment that you could have with respect. Like everybody's always like, they should just get a job. And then they get a job and they're like, not that job, you loser. What a loser job you have. We're not going to pay you enough to live. You just have to go to work every day and pay all this money for gasoline and spend all your time here. And you still will starve, jerk. I mean, it just never ends with those kind of people. So why don't we just improve conditions for everybody? All I'm saying is when you've got an MLBPA, has a $600,000 minimum salary, and then you got other people making $20 an hour in a city where the median rent is just climbing astronomically on a regular basis, along with the taxes and all of it, and the price of everything. Everything has gone up so much. Makes it hard to live. $20 an hour sounds like a lot to those of us who one time in our lives made $4. I made $4 an hour working at Burger King in 1988. When I was 14 years old, I had to get a special permit to do it. I'd make $5 mowing a lawn. Now a kid won't even do it for less than 50. So spoiled little kids. But no, honestly, I understand. What the hell would you do for less than $50? Not much. You wouldn't even drive anybody to the airport for $50. It's not worth your time. Or the gas. Anyway, I'm just saying, Wrigley employees should be treated well because they do a hard job and they make a lot of money for their employer who doesn't do shit. He sits and watches the game and makes more than everybody put together. So that's my problem, right? That is my problem with the whole situation. Anyway, I digress. Not really. I always talk about stuff like this, but Bleacher Bum Band plays today right after the game. It's going to be a great show. We're doing a new song that we just came up with about Harry Carey and all the 80s Cubs. And it's a cover song, actually, or a parody of Wooly Bully, which is just a fun freaking frat house song to sing. And everybody could sing along. And Harry Carey, Harry Carey. It's going to be great. I'm excited. I can't remember which players that I picked to be in the verses of the song, but in the original, you can't understand a word that guy says. So I feel like I'll just be doing homage to the original if I just muddle through a bunch of random 80s Cubs until we get to the chorus. You know what I mean? But I have written it down in big letters because I can't see anymore either. It's going to be fun, though. A lot of ranters will be down there. Michael Cotton from the Son Ranto show is going to be there with his wife, Emily. We got a bunch of great prizes. We're giving away a Ron Santo bobblehead. We've got a bunch of obvious shirts. We got a gift certificate for obvious shirts that we're giving away, and as part of our raffle, it's we do the show for free, but then we do a raffle where we give away stuff, which is how we pay for our rehearsal space. So you can also join our Patreon. We got one of those too, but that probably just got me shadow banned on this account because I mentioned another app and my free speech is gone. It is. It's gone. So is yours. It's really not fair because we live in a land that is supposed to lionize free speech. But back to yesterday's game. Um, winging a prayer with this bullpen really is. I mean, you got guys out there pitching that you didn't think was gonna be on the team. Um, God, who was the guy yesterday that did terribly? I'm gonna look him up real quick. Ryan Rollison is the guy's name. I just dropped my glove just as I found out his name is Ryan Rollison. He gave up a bunch of runs. Not totally his fault, but kind of his fault. Sort of his. It was kind of his fault. And then he did have a couple strikeouts though. And then we had Philippe Maton return to the pen. And if he was hurt, and now he's not, and then we get this kind of Philippe Maton who had a couple of strikeouts in his inning of work, then we should be in good shape with him coming back. That's certainly going to help us a lot. And then Jacob Webb, who I didn't even expect to be on the team, did quite well in his outing, including striking out. Did he strike out the side? He had 3 strikeouts, but I'm not sure if he pitched over an inning. I forget. But anyway, he struck out the last batter, and that was exciting. We all cheered. We sang the song, and we won 6-5. It was a squeaker. Then you look at this offense, and they had a couple guys on. They seemed like they were taking advantage of some kind of not, I won't call it shoddy defense, but it was just like everybody was sort of like out of sorts as soon as Nico was out of the game. And good thing that Dansby was back in there. I guess his butt cramp is fine now. He's worked that out. Probably doing buns of steel. But the Cubs keep rolling. Can they do it today? I hope they can. I think you got Imanaga on the mound for the Cubbies, and he's hit and miss. It seems like some teams have a really good game plan against him and do well, and other teams don't. And a lot of his success is based on really the makeup of the other team, because he's doing the work. They're all doing the work, but sometimes a team just is wrong when they choose, and you see them going up there and swinging like Bugs Bunny at it, and they look like idiots. But then other times, Imanaga just absolutely gets rocked. Long ball bites him. But he's a pitching philosopher, knows what he's doing. He's a veteran. He's been in the league now a while, too. So he knows more what he's doing. He can be crafty, just kind of how Colin Ray can be oftentimes. Good outing by him yesterday. You didn't. In fact, things were going great until he was out of the game, if you think about it. But he had to get out of the game because, at some point he's going to be exposed. That's what we've seen that over and over with a lot of these guys, too. They get exposed third time through the order, especially with a good hitting team. We saw Ildemaro Vargas, who's on some freaking amazing 27-game hitting streak. Why didn't the Cubs keep him? Instead, we got Nicky Lopez, and guess that's what we're doing instead. Let Ildemaro Vargas go because I guess Jed has no idea what talent looks like. Just a shame that we couldn't have worked that out. And he was literally on our team, and we just were like, eh. And now he's leading so many offensive categories. I guess we saw something it wasn't about to be, but sometimes it just is the right set of circumstances that a guy succeeds. So anyway, I'm excited. We're going to rock out at the output at Wrigleyville. Don't go to the wrong one. There's 2. Right by Cubs Stadium, as that freaking clown called it in his TikTok video. And then I was wondering, go look through my TikToks. There was a video where I stitched this realtor calling Wrigley Field Cubs Stadium. And then I thought to myself, I wonder if he did that on purpose, just because he knew he'd piss off so many Cubs fans that he'd go viral. And then Cubs fans would see that and rent the apartment. But hey, apartments right now, they're not having any trouble getting rented. Chicago's an incredible place. A lot of people want to live here. I'm glad I do. Anyway, hope you guys come out to see us today in Chicago, Output Wrigleyville. Be there or be square.